I didn't come to the Helios Concord for romance. I came because Earth had finally been invited to the table. The Concord wasn't a place so much as a moving miracle, an artificial ring world the size of a small moon, drifting in permanent orbit around a blue-white star. Its interior was a patchwork of biomes, cities, and ceremonial halls belonging to over 200 species. For millennia, the Concord had governed trade, conflict arbitration, and succession law for most of known space. Humans had been spacefaring for less than 2 centuries. That alone made us suspicious. I was there as a systems analyst, low-ranking, unimportant, safe. Or, at least that's what Earth Command believed when they sent me as part of the diplomatic auxiliary staff. My job was to sit quietly, fix broken interfaces, and make sure human tech didn't embarrass us in front of civilizations that considered stars to be raw materials. I was replacing a faulty translation node in a corridor outside the Hall of Succession when everything went wrong. She ran into me literally, not bumped.
Ran.
She was tall, graceful even in panic, her skin a deep pearl violet that shimmered under the Concord's artificial light. Gold markings traced her cheekbones and temples, pulsing faintly like bioluminescent veins. Her eyes, wide, faceted, and silver, locked onto mine with an intensity that made my translator spike. Before I could say a word, she grabbed my arm. "You," she said. "You're my husband." I stared at her. "I'm sorry?" Behind her, the corridor filled with footsteps. Heavy, synchronized, authoritative. A delegation guard unit, judging by the armor. High status. She leaned close, her voice dropping to a whisper. "If you don't agree, I lose everything." Then, louder, for the benefit of the approaching guards. "Darling, there you are." I was afraid you'd gotten lost. Every instinct I had screamed that this was a terrible idea. I nodded anyway. The guard stopped in front of us. Their leader, a massive insectoid being with ceremonial blades folded across his thorax, clicked his mandibles. "Lady Saralith of House Valor," he said. "You were summoned to the hall. Your presence was delayed." Saralith tightened her grip on my arm. "I was attending to my bond mate," she replied smoothly, "as Concord law permits." The insectoid's compound eyes shifted to me. "This is Elias Ward," I said before my translator could lag. "Human." A pause. "Then human?" Saralith smiled, tight, victorious. "Yes." "My husband." The guards exchanged looks. Concord law was mercilessly strict, but it was also obsessively procedural. Marriage bonds, especially cross-species ones, were protected until formally challenged. They stepped aside. "You are permitted passage," the leader said slowly. "Both of you." Only when they were gone did Saralith's composure crack. She sagged against the wall, exhaling sharply. "Thank you," she whispered. "I know this is absurd, but I had no one else." I gently removed her hand from my arm. "You might want to explain before someone decides to dissect me for verification." She let out a breathless laugh, more hysteria than humor. "I am next in line to lead House Valor," she said. "One of the oldest ruling houses in the Concord. But my succession is being contested." "Why?" "Because I am in bondage," she replied. "And because I am female." I frowned. "That doesn't seem very enlightened." "It isn't," she said softly. "The Concord prides itself on progress. Individual cultures do not." As we walked, she explained, House Valor's charter demanded a bonded ruler, someone with a consort to anchor political alliances and stabilize governance. Her rivals had arranged a forced pairing with a Valrix noble known for cruelty and control. If she refused, she would be stripped of title. If she accepted, she would be trapped for life. "So, you grabbed the nearest human in the hallway?" I asked. She winced. When you put it like that, I'm flattered, I said dryly. But this ends how, exactly? That, she admitted, depends on whether you're willing to pretend a little longer. The pretending turned out to be extensive. Concord law required public acknowledgement, shared residence during deliberation, and compatibility assessments. I was given quarters in the Valor Wing, rooms larger than my entire apartment back on Earth. Servants bowed to me. Advisors scrutinized me. Nobles whispered. Some laughed. Others looked furious. Saralith was under constant pressure, but with me at her side, the legal challenges stalled. Every day we appeared together bought her time. Every shared meal, every public appearance strengthened her claim. And every night, when the doors closed and the masks came off, we talked. She wasn't the icy aristocrat the court saw. She was tired, brilliant, angry at a system that demanded sacrifice in the name of tradition. She loved astronomy. She hated ceremonial politics. She asked me endless questions about Earth, about oceans, music, imperfect democracies. Somewhere along the way, the pretending blurred. I started noticing the way her bioluminescence shifted when she laughed. The way she really listened when I spoke. The way she stood a little taller when I supported her arguments in council sessions, even though my voice technically carried no authority. The breaking point came during the trial of bonds. Her rival, Lord Caelrix, challenged the legitimacy of our marriage. He demanded proof of commitment. Humans are transient, he sneered before the council. This one will return to his insignificant world. She will be alone again. Saralith looked at me then, not with desperation, but with trust. Concord law allowed one final demonstration, a voluntary binding vow, witnessed and recorded. It wasn't permanent, but it was real, emotionally real, the kind of vow that could hurt if broken. I had a choice. I could walk away, go home, be safe. Instead, I stepped forward. I am human, I said. Yes. We don't live as long as some of you. We don't have ancient houses or bloodlines. What we have is choice. The chamber was silent. I chose to stand with Saralith. I continued. Not because of law, not because of power, but because she deserves the right to lead on her own terms. I took her hands. They were warm, steady. And if this bond ends one day, I said, meeting her eyes, it will be because we chose different paths, not because someone forced us apart. The vow registered. Caelrix's challenge failed. House Valor was hers. That night, the Concord celebrated. Music echoed through crystalline halls. Light cascaded like liquid stars. Saralith stood beside me on a balcony overlooking the ring world, her expression unreadable. You didn't have to do that, she said quietly. I know, I replied. Silence stretched between us, heavy, full of everything unsaid. This began as a lie, she said, but I don't want it to end as one. My heart thudded painfully. Saralith. I won't trap you, she said quickly. Earth is your home. I won't ask you to stay. I thought of Earth, of quiet apartments and careful lives, of a future that suddenly felt smaller. I don't know what the Concord thinks a human is, I said slowly, but we're not afraid of starting over. Her bioluminescence flared, bright, uncontrolled. You'd stay? She asked. I'd choose you, I said. Not as a pretend husband, as whatever comes next. She stepped closer, resting her forehead against mine, a veiled gesture of trust. Then, she said softly, I choose you as well. Months later, Earth received a message. Not a resignation. An announcement. A human had taken permanent residence in the Concord, not as an ambassador, not as a diplomat, but as consort to one of its ruling houses. The reaction was chaos. The result was history. I hadn't come to the stars looking for love. But when she needed a pretend husband, she ended up choosing me. And for the first time in my life, I chose a future written among the stars. Years later, when historians of the Concorde debated the moment humanity truly became part of interstellar civilization, they didn't point to treaties or trade routes. They pointed to a quiet ceremony in House Valor. No grand fleets. No weapons. Just two beings standing by choice. Seralith ruled with a steadiness that surprised even her critics, reforming succession law, dismantling force bonds, and opening the Concorde to voices that had never been heard before. Whenever resistance rose, she met it head-on, calm and unyielding. And I stood beside her, not as a symbol, not as an obligation, but as her partner. The word husband lost its political meaning over time. It became something simpler, truer. At night, when the ring world dimmed and the star outside our windows burned quietly, she would rest her head against my shoulder and ask me about Earth again, about rainstorms and crowded streets and the stubborn way humans refuse to stay small. I'd tell her the truth, that we weren't special because we were strong. We were special because we chose. And in a universe built on ancient laws and rigid destinies, one alien leader had chosen freedom, and one human had chosen her. That was how it ended. Not with a treaty, but with two hands intertwined and a future neither of us had been meant to have, until we claimed it together.